Welcome to the System to Success show. On this show, we'll cover the best growth advice from top CEOs in North America and beyond. On each episode, your host, Jay Crutchfield, he's a former software engineer turned entrepreneur, created and maintained online marketing, online sales, and fulfillment systems for global brands. He offers non-traditional wisdom about business systems mastery, while his guests share the story of how they built their companies. Jay and his guests talk entrepreneurship, digital marketing, strategy, and business principles. But they also talk about what it means to be human with all the ups and downs, advances, and setbacks. And what he does is he takes his information and strategies that has helped catapult global brands and brings that to the small business owner to give them that advantage. Make sure to subscribe and follow for more of these business system mastery
too. Like, okay, Terry really cares about me, and so I'm gonna pay more attention to what she's saying because she spent that time with me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So it really is about that. This is what I'm saying. It's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the folks who hire you and the people who are in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
When I didn't mean you, Jay. I'm talking about us in general.
Yes. It's like not you, Jay, but yes. So Terry, how did you? I guess what inspired you to become a professional speaker, or even who?
Okay. I have the heart of a teacher. Yeah, I have the heart of a teacher. I have since I was a little kid. And my passion is really working with leaders and helping leaders be the best that they can be so that they can then influence the people that they work with and bring out the best in their people. I have worked with a lot of not so nice folks, and I saw how they decimated the culture, and I saw how they really sucked the life out of some folks who didn't deserve what they got. And I've also seen leaders who lift their people up, and they're very gifted, and they really know how to be what I call the corporate mystic. Jay Hendricks wrote a wonderful book many years ago, and that's actually what spurred me to create my leadership center. And so when I speak because I have something to share. I have a message to share. And it's always been about being true to yourself and learning. It's about constant learning about yourself so that you can connect better and communicate better with others. Learning about your leadership styles so that you can influence and work with other people in their leadership styles. Learning about how, what is important to you and how you can bring out what is important to other people in the workplace. That's one of the things with comp programs, for example. Some comp programs in the workplace don't, gift programs don't work because they haven't asked the employees what kind of gift do they really want? What is it that's important to them? And it may be as easy as an extra few hours to be able to come in earlier, come in earlier to be able to leave earlier so that somebody can go see their kid's soccer game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about intuition. And a lot of this stuff hasn't been taught. And when I was teaching it in my leadership center, I was somewhat ahead of my time. Now, I truly believe that leaders are beginning to get it, that it's important to listen to those of us who've been there, done that, and really know how to bring out the best in yourself and in your folks. And burnout. I burned out multiple times. So that's why I teach the message of resilience. Because I don't want other leaders to go through what I went through. I lost my health. I lost my business. My kids saw me laying on the couch in a fetal position, exhausted all the time. Who wants that? Mm-hmm. So I learned what I needed to learn for myself so that I could share it with others, because I have the gift of being able to speak. And actually we all do. It's just having the courage to be able to do it.
Wow. So you touched on so many good points right there, Terry. And I'm thinking like, man, which one should I pick from? I'm curious to find out more about you. You spoke about the two types of leaders: the one who drains their team and zaps the life out of them, and then the leader that you phrase is that corporate mystic who builds up his team. And so, could you talk more about that person that may be that person that's sucking the life out of their team?
Yeah.
Like, what are some things that they can do to make sure that they start to reflect and then build up their team?
Okay. May I create a picture
Yes.
to help illustrate this? And I call it the waterfall principle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Imagine two waterfalls. 1, 2. Water can be destructive and it can be healing, can it not?
Yes.
Okay. So in waterfall number 1, the client is at the top of the waterfall and the employee is at the bottom. So in this scenario, the employee is forced to go up the waterfall to reach the client. How does that feel, Jay?
Pressure.
Yeah.
Resistance going uphill.
Mm-hmm. And lots of stress.
Mm-hmm.
Salmon going upstream ends up dying or getting eaten by bears. People are tired. They're exhausted. And that's what happens when a corporation puts the client first. It's a customer first, client first centric company. Okay? The employees are just a commodity. People don't really care about their employees. They're just a tool to get to whatever goal the folks at the top want. Let's go to waterfall number 2. Waterfall number 2, it's reversed.
Mm-hmm.
The employee is at the top and they're receiving the phenomenal customer service that the clients are receiving in waterfall number 1. So receiving that kind of service where you feel valued, where when your feet hit the floor in the morning, you're running to go to work because you love it so much. You're willing to serve, you're willing to be there, you're great at doing your job because people, it's what I call, it's intuitive leadership, but it's called thrill, trust, honor, respect, integrity, loyalty, and love a fellow man. It's a very honest culture. It's created in a way that feedback is given in a very positive way. People trust each other and work with each other very well. That kind of culture, just imagine the employees at the very top and then the waterfall, that energy feeding the customers and the clients. It's huge and it feels good. And that's where water is healing. Water is destructive in the first waterfall. Water is healing in the second waterfall. And a classic company that really works beautifully with that illustration is Southwest Airlines. I love Southwest Airlines. People treat me like gold when I'm on Southwest. And recently, my husband and I went to Hawaii, and I had to fly a different airline, which broke my heart. I felt like I was. What's the word I want to use? Being dishonoring Southwest because I was flying another airline, but they weren't going there at the time. I mean, they will be soon, but they weren't going there. So this airline that I flew, I was like, oh, I walked in, and Southwest, when you walk into their airplane, they greet you like they're greeting you into their home. This other airline, it was like I was just a job. I was just one of the many people, go, and even watching me, who is the people watcher, watching the flight attendants doing their job, it was, I have to do the job versus I want to do the job. With Southwest, those flight attendants want to do the job. You can feel it. They're fantastic. On this other airline, and it just was, it was efficient, but there was very low energy.
Yeah. Sounds like it wasn't welcoming. Yeah.
No, it wasn't at all. It wasn't at all. So Southwest emulated it, and the other one emulated Waterfall number one.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and I won't ask what airline that was.
I would tell you. I won't go there.
Just had to throw that in there for the side. So, what I would ask this other question on just you spoke about just telling that authentic story. So, how do you start to like write down things in a way where you're telling your story in a way that's like helpful to the audience and like more strategic versus like recalling a sequence of events and including stuff that's not necessary for the message?
Okay, I like to walk you through a talk that I gave in October. It was a tandem talk. I was actually speaking with someone else. And I think that'll shed light on what you're talking about. First of all, I was invited to do a talk for Dare to Lead for the Business Forum in Doral, Florida, with a very, very wonderful friend of mine, Lou Lee B. And it was the very first time that we were doing a tandem talk. We spent 2 hours on the phone crafting our talking points. What talking point do we want? What is the outcome that the presenters want? What is the whole focus of this thing? So we're asking open-ended questions. Each of us had a whiteboard. She was in Florida. I was up here in Rhode Island. We each had a whiteboard. We were writing things down. We were literally just masterminding this thing. And that's what you need to do for yourself. What are your talking points? What do you want to touch on? What is the goal? And we had 45 minutes and we broke it up into specific segments. And what we did was the PowerPoints were not meant to have everything on it. We memorized our talking points, and the PowerPoints were beautiful, beautiful pictures that led us from one topic to the next. And because we practiced so much, we knew who was going to take the floor and who was going to take a seat back, okay? We did this 45-minute talk, and people were coming up to us afterwards asking us how many years had we been speaking together. And it's because in our own right, we're professional speakers, but we practiced and practiced. Our talking points were clear. The PowerPoint complemented our talk versus being the talk, okay? And we trusted each other. It's about trusting yourself. It's about really connecting with who you are and what your message is. And Luli and I were two different generations. And we spoke about the same topic from our generation's perspective, bringing it together because there were all generations in the room. And we were speaking mostly about leadership and resilience. And it worked out beautifully. But you have to do your homework. You've got to prepare. You have to know your talking points. You've got to get the outcome from the organizer. What is it that you're looking for?
Wow. One thing that I continually hear during our conversation is just to prepare. Make sure you know what you're talking about. And even with that tandem talk is the conversation you had, just preparing and rehearsal and rehearsing. And so it sounds like you guys just put so much work into it that it flowed well.
Yes, it did.
During the time. And so, wow, that's really powerful. So, man, that's really interesting too on that side of like the speaking in tandem with somebody. So have you done that previously to
Not
that
like
talk?
that.
Wow.
Not like that. But again, we trusted each other so much and we respect each other so much that it was easy. And we both know our topics so very, very well. It was really easy. It was a lot of fun too. And I want to say we put in total, it was only about 4 hours of prep time.
Oh, wow.
It really wasn't all that much. She's a marketer, so she created the slides for us. We practiced once on the webinar, once on Zoom, and once they were done, and we laid out going through Zoom who was going to do what and who was going to talk about what. And when we were in the room, we practiced on stage. We practiced twice because there were some complications there, and it worked out great. It really did. It's nice.
Wow. So Terry, what's your vision for your speaking career at the point you're at right now?
Well, I am looking to speak on stages where I can talk with leaders who really want to make a difference, who really want, I have a socially conscious business that we are finally, after 15 years, creating called Smile Initiative. And it really has become my why. And the SMILE stands for Strategies for Management, Intuitive Leadership, and Education. And it's about helping to ensure that there is food on the table. Food on the table for where my business is Intuitive Leadership, as you know. So a portion of everything that I do with Intuitive Leadership goes to food banks. Whereas SMILE Initiative, it's working with sponsors and growing startup companies, socially conscious companies, and working with leaders who are interested in coming to leadership retreats where we work together to craft and help our communities create programs to help our rising entrepreneurs to be the best that they can be so they can put food on the table. That's really a big deal for me because I see some of these hungry kids, and it's just not the kids, it's their families. And how can we help families support themselves in a way that is powerful, that is positive, where their self-esteem is raised and intact? And that's really where I'm going with what I'm doing. So the stages I'm looking for are to speak on stages where we have leaders who want to learn about the waterfall principle, who really want to engage in positive communication, want to learn about resilience, want to be the best that they can be for themselves so that they can elevate their own employees. And it becomes a waterfall. It just keeps, one layer keeps feeding the next and the next and the next and the next.
Wow, Terry, that's really powerful. Just how you're focusing so much on helping other people as your driving force of why you do what you do. And so I know you definitely have a heart for people, and you definitely have a heart of a speaker and a teacher also from our conversations. So yes, I really appreciate that. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for just being you and just being authentic in our conversation. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. And so one last question and one last thing is, what last advice or what advice would you give that aspiring speaker that may be struggling to just define their message and be, trusting of themselves to be vulnerable when they're speaking?
Remember I was talking about the practicing?
Yes.
Look in your local community for organizations that bring in free speakers. Ask for feedback on your speech. Ask for feedback on your message. You've got the Rotaries, you have the chambers, on and on and on and on. Speak for free in the very beginning. And when you speak for free, one of the, there's two ways of looking at the speaking industry. There's the paid speaking, of course, and the free speaking. And I know there are speakers who still speak for free, but their back of room sales are so hot, they actually make more than they do from what they would be paid. So they prefer to speak for free. So it's really a personal thing on which way you want to go. And just know that when you are authentic and in integrity with your message, things will begin to unfold from an attraction perspective, from a magnetic perspective. When you ask for guidance, when you ask for referrals, if you know of anyone who would love to hear this message or would like to hear this message, love can be a strong word sometimes, but would like to hear this message, please think of me or refer me. I would love to be able to connect with them. Ask for the referral. Beginning speakers forget to do that oftentimes. I did. I kept forgetting all the time. It drove me crazy. I walked out going, I forgot to ask again. For crying out loud. I did. Any mistake somebody could make, I made it, believe me. And recognize that there's going to be times when things are going to be quiet, and there's a reason for that. There is a time when your speaking is going to, wow, I don't have a lot of speaking engagements. I don't have a lot of this. Sometimes that's the universe's way of saying it's time to look within and perhaps elevate your message. It's time for you to take some time off and regroup. Listen to those times and then ratchet up again after a bit with a renewed focus. And by listening to what's really going on inside of your heart. To speak for the sake of speaking and making money, but to speak for the sake of making a difference, the money will follow.
Now, Terry, that's tweetable right there. I wanted to go ahead and post that on social media. That's really good. Awesome, Terry. Terry, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you.
And for those speakers and those leaders that may want to connect with you and learn more about your offerings, where should they go?
They can find me at www.intuitiveleadership.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, Terry Wildemann. That's TERRY WILDEMANN. No R. Somebody else. Terry Wildemann. You can find me on Facebook, Terry Wildemann also. And I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm all over social media.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Terry, it's been such a pleasure connecting with you, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the future.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.